National Bowl Expo here at the Orange County Convention Center, here at the Storm booth. It's our final segment today, and everyone knows I'm a Pete Weber fan, and quite honestly, Pete, I've decided that the lights, you need sunglasses on television, and I've decided to wear these in tribute to you. Nelson Burton Jr., Norm Duke, Storm and Norman Duke, and Pete Weber here as we finish up the day. Guys, welcome back to the booth.
Mike, Bo, thank you very much.
You know, Mike, I was telling these two guys, I had a pretty good career, and unlike most top pro bowlers, these guys, I had no ego at all. And so I told them before we came on, I said, Mike, there's only 3 guys that I feared in the sport of bowling. One of them was Pete Weber, one of them was Norm Duke, and Norm had the best line of all of them. But being a Texan guy kind of like me, he says, and that was the guy you looked at in the mirror. And I says, hey, that's a great line of all of them.
Your reflection is the one you feared the most.
We have 2 of my 5 greatest bowlers of all time sitting right here, and that's no BS. Is that okay to say that, Norm?
Well, as long as you're putting yourself on number 1. Yeah, as long as you're in there too.
Oh, Lord.
Well, I'll tell you, a complete honor to be able to sit here with these 3 guys. I want to make sure somebody snaps a picture of this, because as a bowling fan, being able to be around you guys is just outstanding. And Norm, I know that you're here for Storm. You're one of our greatest staffers that we have. But Norm, you do a lot of other things in bowling, and you're involved with a group called Next Level.
Yes.
And I know that's very passionate, coaching, appearances, things that you do, matchmakers with our products. Tell everybody at home a little bit about your side project that you do with Next Level Bowling.
Well, Next Level Bowling, our company, we are event planners. We are a booking service. We do all kinds of coaching, appearances, guest speaking. Anytime you need a professional bowler to come in and either do a show, we do a lot of trick shot shows and things like that, entertainment components, bar clinics. Call us. Next Level Bowling is the place to go. And we've been doing it for about 12 years, so we kind of got it down. And thankfully, just about everywhere I go, Storm partners with me. So when you have me come into your facility, typically you get the whole Storm family coming in. And so it becomes not just a day with Norm, it's really an event. And my president and partner, Lori Romano, is the best in the industry at booking the gigs and taking care of all the travel. And so that's what we do, and we love it.
Yeah, and she is truly fantastic. I've met her last year, saw her again here this year. Just a great person. And I'll tell you what, Bo, one thing that is a common trend with the folks we've had up here in the booth is how our staff not only bowls, represents our brand, but they try to do things to grow the sport of bowling, which is our mission statement at Storm. And before we go any further, I got to take the glasses off. I don't know how you do it, Pete, but to grow the sport of bowling is so important, and that's what we do here at Storm, and our staffers do that as well.
Well, you know, Norm, I've known both, Mike, I've known Norm and Pete for a long time, and I just signed a deal before we went on the air, to be a Next Level guy with Norm Duke, and he's really got the right thing. I've seen it before, and I'm anxious to get it going. I've sent him some pictures and that. You have Pete on this. We have Peter yet?
Yeah, we book everybody. It doesn't matter. We book all staff players, all the pros, and you know, we typically try and partner with the companies that they're affiliated with. That's the way to make it cost effective for your customer. Otherwise, they're on the hook for all of the expense money, and it's just too hard to make it work without the partners. So it's really important to bring in all of the associates.
You know, Norman, my family's been in the bowling business in Texas and then in St. Louis. And you know what? My dad had a great philosophy. He was a great promoter. He brought in a top pro every year, even though I was on tour, even though my dad was there, even though Dick Weber bowled at our bowling center, Don Carter bowled. We still brought an outside guy in to build our business, Mike, to entertain our customers.
Yes.
They wouldn't see a guy. Remember the last guy we had in was Joe Joseph. If you guys remember him, he bowled out of Detroit and whatnot. We had Eddie Lubansky, and I'm going back names, but it's a terrific idea. It's a terrific promotion for any bowling center, especially to reward your customers.
Well, you know, and when I was 13 years old, my father brought into our bowling center a guy named Bugsy Moran. And Bugsy bowled the highest average bowler in our center, and also the best youth bowler, which was me. And that is, it left an indelible image, and it's probably one of the reasons why I'm affiliated with Next Level Bowling now, is because it impacted me. It was truly something I look forward to, and I really enjoyed it a lot.
And now Pete and Norm both joining us here at the Storm Live set. Pete, you've had a lot of success on the senior tour, the PBA 50 renamed tour, and you were the Rookie of the Year last year. Now Norm is a rookie this year on the PBA 50 tour. What's it like competing out there, Pete? Are you enjoying the kind of reunion? And I know that just recently you two hooked up on TV, and I'd like to get your opinion of what happened on that Extra Frame broadcast when you bowled head-to-head for a title, and then we'll get Norm's.
Well, bowling on the senior tour is just so much fun. I mean, it's not like you got your clique over here and your clique here. Everybody talks to each other, everybody gets along, and it's really fun to be out there and bowl against the old timers and even the new guys coming on. And as far as Norm, he can quit anytime he wants. I'm getting tired of getting beat by him on the senior tour. So, you know, and not only is he a rookie, but he's ahead for Player of the Year also. So, you know, being out there bowling against Norm and Parker and Walter and everybody else, you know, it's just a great feeling, and it's fun and exciting.
And Norm, talk about your latest victory. I know you weren't able to bowl both events because you had some other things that you were booked on, but take us through that week when you were competing, and I know it was a long, grueling process, and they actually make the seniors bowl more games than the young tour.
They make the seniors. I tell you what, I got finished with the U.S. Open. I thought, whoa, how that just happened. It was 7 days worth of just bowling 10 to 14 hours a day, and I kept thinking, there's no way these guys can get this done. And sure enough, everybody finished. And it's not easy. I tell you what, you would think that the senior U.S. Open pattern would be a little more playable, but and it might have been, but it didn't seem like it at the time. The guys are great still out there. They don't have the rev rate, of course, of Jason Belmonte and the West Malots, but they have the talent. They don't forget how to bowl out there. It's like if you were going to shoe up right now against Nelson Burton Jr., I guarantee you would need more than 240 to win. And that's kind of like what it is out there. And the Hall of Fame list is so much deeper on our tour, you know, primarily because of our age, but also because, boy, I'll tell you what, the last 10 years, the group that has entered that senior tour, that's people that I ask for autographs all the time. Like, sign that shoe, please.
Yeah, there's no question about that. And Bo, you've seen the PBA 50 tour over the years. Do you think it's the toughest right now than it's ever been?
Agreed. It's the toughest, and I'll tell you one reason, and I know it. It's not a reason that I'm making up. Is these guys are the last generation of bowlers that learned to bowl with a rubber ball on wood lanes. As much as Pete hooks it, as much as Norm hooks it, they learned to go down and in, play the line, and that carried over. They learned to play small areas. They learned speed control and all that. It's not as important today. And these guys being the last generation, and nothing against the new guys coming up, but they had the luxury of learning in that environment and then making the transition to today's environment of the storm balls and the synthetic lanes and all the other different kinds of shots. And I watch it on TV, and I watch some of these guys in there, and I says, where are the handcuffs? And somebody says, what is that? I says, they ought to put handcuffs on Norm and Pete. They're stealing from these guys. Now, granted, one of the greatest talents of all times, but two of the most versatile players of all time. You watch Pete hook the ball now. You may be a little bit too young, but I called the action in a bowling lane in North St. Louis where you won the tournament. It was an AMF house. I think it was North, whatever.
North Oaks.
North Oaks. All lacquer, burnout.
Yeah.
Pete Weber hooking the ball this much straight down the second arrow like a Don Carter or his dad. So these guys know how to bowl. They're in great shape and very, very entertaining. I mean, don't ever put them down. They can really do it.
And that video is on YouTube. I did watch that video most recently, and it was a great telecast. And North Oaks Bowl, being from St. Louis, just closed its doors this summer. So kind of sad news there. But they did, Pete.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So let's go down memory lane here for just a moment. I did prepare some notes for this segment. I did actually do a little homework, and I want to talk to Norm again here. And in 1994, you bowled a match at Landmark Lanes against a man by the name of Brian Goebel. And on that particular telecast, you had the beard working. And I remember that particular day, you bowled a 280 game.
Facial fescue is what
Yeah, where is Randy?
calls it.
You bowled a 280 game, and I know you don't really like to talk about this too much, but it's just such an incredible match that I got to bring it up. He bowled against Brian Goebel, and when you bowled against Brian Goebel in that match, Brian Goebel had the first 9 strikes, and he had 280 left going into the 10th frame, and you threw all 3 in the 10th. And I'd like to know if when you threw those 3 strikes in the 10th frame, when you sat down, you looked like you knew you were going to win the match, even though Brian Goebel just needed the first hit in the 10th. And I'd like for you to talk about that. And I will preface this with, it will get better when we talk about 2 weeks later that year.
Well, of course, what Brian did that afternoon, I mean, he had a shot at $240,000 in one ball. I've been bowling for 30 some odd years and done pretty good. I've never once had that opportunity. He didn't complete the task. He bowled 296, but prior to him throwing that first ball in the 10, like you said, I struck out to make him strike. I knew I had a chance to win. There's just that much pressure. $250,000? I choked for $10 against Nelson Burton Jr. And so I honestly thought that I had a shot at it, but you're also a fan sitting down. I want to see a man throw 3 in the 10th for $250,000. I wanted to see that as well. So it's kind of like a mixed emotion. And the fact that he did strike to beat me and did not get the $250,000, man, did that hurt. I'm like, what? I got to see the bad part, but not the good part, you know.
Now, Bo, you were on that broadcast, and you were there firsthand to see it. And I remember you quoting Norm Duke during that telecast. You said, if you got the time, I got the money.
No, you got the money, I got the time.
Yeah,
you made that up.
Did you really say that, Norm?
You pulled that right out of the bowl.
Well, let me preface it all a little bit. I was born one generation before them. There was not even a PBA tour when I was Shelley Goodwin's age or something like that. So what we were taught to do is basically go into the bowling business, like Peter's dad and my dad and whatnot. But because there were no, quote, tricks, equal well gutter to gutter, there were no lane maintenance machines. A lot of heavy pins, and the scores were low. We bowled a lot of action.
Right, a lot of action.
And I'm talking for my own money. I'd almost be embarrassed to tell you how much I bowled for. I actually made more in one day bowling action than I ever won winning a PBA tournament. That being said, these guys here are still cut from that same blood. Norm Duke, he's the one that I told him the line, but I meant it. If you got the money, I got the time. This guy backed off from nowhere. Pete Weber backed off from nowhere. This is something you never saw on our ABC telecast. But when you toughen yourself up, and you guys can both talk about that, toughen yourself up the way I learned and the way you guys were taught. And unfortunately, going back again, Mike, none of the next generation has that luxury of cutting their, as Carmen Salvino, putting their tough teeth on and really learn it for your own bucks. When the entry fee for one game is not $400 for like a PBA tournament, the entry fee is $5,000, folks. You learned how to throw that bowling ball. And I'll talk to both of you a little bit about that. Go ahead, Mike.
Here's what we'll do. When we come back, we're going to talk about what happened 2 weeks later. Norm got redemption, but right now Mike Fagan is standing by with a guest down on the showroom floor. Mike.
I'm here with 2 of our VIP Pro Shop owners, Amber from outside Waterloo, Iowa, and Marlon from Queens, New York. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about what type of bowling balls you're stocking up. I saw you placing some orders with your Storm reps, so what's your big purchase this summer?
We ordered a lot of the Optimus. We've sold a lot of the Master line in our area, the IQs, but we think the Optimus is really going to be the hit ball for this year.
Okay, that seems to be the consensus. And I'm